Welcome once again to our ongoing YouTube video series on franchising for franchisors. Primarily this video is intended primarily for those who are looking to franchise their business for the first time. My name is Christopher Neufeld with Neufeld Legal, and I'm a franchise lawyer. And in this particular YouTube video, we're going to be discussing the importance of the franchise documents that you produce. Primarily the disclosure document and the franchise agreement, but also the supporting ancillary documents. Now, why are these documents so important? These documents have become so important because of franchise laws, primarily statutes and regulations that were created to protect the franchisees. Now, what has happened, this is my interpretation of how things have gone, is that laws were created to protect franchisees. However, franchisees, as we all know, are the little guys out there. Franchisors are the big guys. They have the money. Everybody from McDonald's to Tim Hortons to Wendy's to Molly Maid to a range of other franchise systems out there. These are multi-million dollar, if not multi-billion dollar companies. So what they've done is they've been able to engage, over the years that these statutes have come out, reams and reams of high-priced lawyers, something that the franchisees do not have. And they've developed, in part through legal knowledge, and then in part through trial and error, or finding out about weaknesses in them, a series of franchise legal documents that comply with the law, entirely fulfill the law, and go one step further and effectively protect the franchisor, so that the franchisor, meaning the party that's franchising the business, is now in a position that they have fully complied, and that the avenues that are available through the statute and the regulations have been effectively cut off from the franchisee through the documentation. There are still avenues through which the franchisee can challenge the franchisor outside the franchise law, and even sometimes within the franchise law, but those are typically going to be more egregious events. So instead of that, what you have is a series of documents that address the laws, which do not constantly modify and update, and are complete and thorough to the extent they are, and then they siphon off the uncertainty associated with those laws. Now, the documents themselves have to be fully completed, and this is the critical thing for yourself as a new franchisor or a franchisor coming into Canada and the United States, is that when you have a core set of documents, they have to draw upon information specific to the franchisor, the individuals working on it, the business, all those aspects, the specific costs and the like. So you need to be providing full disclosure. You need to be fully communicative with your lawyer who's drafting up those documents, who's working the core template and then putting the substance for your particular business. So you need to be totally frank, upfront, honest, because when you start to pull back and not explain stuff, at least to the lawyer who can work with that information, you're setting yourself up for legal exposure. So that's what you have to do, number one. So then the documents are created. They are designed to protect now the franchisor, having complied with the laws. And then the next step, and we'll discuss this in other videos, is that you have to also understand the limitations of what can be said to the franchisee. Because you want to let the franchisee rely upon the documentation you provide, together with whatever paperwork on marketing materials that you provide that has been vetted by the lawyer, because the paperwork also should be compliant with the franchise laws, because paperwork can be used against you if something goes wrong. And this is partly, when I say go wrong, it's if you get a franchisee who's not all they're up to be, if they don't really work the system and they get upset about it, something happens with respect to their franchise, the business doesn't go well, they're going to come back after you. So you got to make sure the paperwork's there. And also, all communications need to be properly structured and appropriate rules put in place. Because those rules are important in that what is said, you constrain how far you say stuff. And what you do when you constrain stuff, it's the same thing with the franchise agreement and the disclosure documents. They set out information, but they don't set out more information than the lawyer allows you to. The same thing with other communications, both written and oral communications. You should not be saying anything beyond what the lawyer allows you to say. Because once you go beyond, you could be subjecting yourself to the franchise law, the regulations, and the severe penalties that they have been created by governments to protect franchisees. So what you need to be doing is following a framework, taking the guidance of a lawyer who understands the franchising system and following through on it, because it's going to save you a lot of headache and should also save you the potential for a lot of legal costs. Or at least in the minimum, it will allow you to have a very good defense to refute what is being claimed by this disgruntled franchisee, this franchisee who didn't work hard and is now blaming yourself based on false promises, whether it's in the documentation, as in the disclosure document, franchise agreement, marketing materials, or in oral communications to him or in emails to him or her. So that's why you have to engage the right lawyer and put together the appropriate documentation, because this documentation, as I said at the beginning, and as I'm going to repeat again, is designed to protect you and your business. It is essential. It is critical. You are going into oftentimes 10 plus year arrangements with these individuals. So what you need to be doing is protecting your interests, protecting your business interests, and reaping the benefits that come with having a legally secure business that you are effectively selling to someone else and working with them, so that you do not come back and get challenged from a legal standpoint because you didn't do the proper legwork at the outset. Well, I trust you found this YouTube video informative. If you're looking for franchising law representation as a franchisor, do not hesitate to contact ourselves. It is a core area of our legal practice, and we would welcome talking with you about either launching, expanding, or representing your franchise system in Canada and the United States. Thank you.